Ready. Let's do this.
There we are.
See, he knows it already. Oh, hello and welcome, everybody, to the Skip Happens podcast. My name is Skip Clark, and I'm joined by my good friend and president and founder of the official country music fan club. That's her. That's Deb Lamphere, right up
Hello.
there. Connecting you.
Always backwards when you point.
Yeah, you got to make sure you go the right way, though, with the camera. I know it's kind of hard. We're connecting you with the artists and songwriters who make country music so good. Tonight, no exception. AaronGoodvin is a name.
So good to be here.
Yes. Hold on. It's a name that, we can say it over and over and over again. But you know what? Soon, it's going to become a household name, if it isn't already, and a whole lot more in the future. We're going to find out that the lowdown. He's Canadian-born, Nashville-based writer and performer, and your music ended. So there he is, ladies and gentlemen, AaronGoodvin.
Woo!
Welcome.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Did that sound familiar to you?
Very. Very familiar. It reminded me, as soon as I heard it, it reminded me of the day. I get a lot of questions about who played on that. Mm-hmm. Because it's such a distinct kind of guitar lick. As soon as you hear it, you're like, "Oh, I know what song this is," and it's kind of quirky. The guy who played is Rob McNally. He's ACM Guitar Player of the Year, I think, last 2 or 3 years. Amazing guitar player, and So as soon as you heard it, I thought of him. So there you go.
And I saw the smile come across your face, so I knew it. And of course, that song did really well for you in Canada. Is that the one that you got the ACM, the award for the ACM, what was it, Writer of the Year in 2018?
The CCMA. The CCMA.
I know, I get them all mixed up.
I'll show it to you, just to prove that this is a real thing.
It's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
Check this out, Deb.
And you should be very, very proud of that. Awesome.
Damn.
Look at that.
Don't drop it. Oh, my God, don't do that, because if it breaks on my dime.
I know.
You guys mind if I just hold it?
No, you can hold all you want. And I wouldn't. Yeah, cuddle that baby.
Like a baby.
Aaron,
I'd be nervous carrying that home from the award show.
Exactly. Like when you walked out of the arena that night, did you have it all wrapped up and said, "And don't let anybody touch this and keep it covered"?
Yeah, it was. It really was an incredible moment. I remember I had gone to the, like many, I'm sure you hear these stories all the time about artists, but and you've probably talked to a lot bigger artists than myself, but I feel like I remember the moment that they said, and I didn't think we won it, because for whatever reason they say the last name like in alphabetical order. So Skip Black is the guy I wrote it with. And as soon as I heard the S come out of who was announcing the winner's name, I was like, oh. And then it was Skip Black, and I was like, wait a minute.
That's us.
And I threw my hat on the ground. I think I hugged my dad. I completely forgot about my wife and my mom.
Oh, no.
The label. My dad, I think it was because my dad was like the only person in between me and the award. So it was like I just started hugging people. But no, it was an incredible moment. And I watched so many of my heroes go up and win those types of awards. And I never, I never got into this business to win awards, but that was such an amazing moment. It was so incredible.
Now the CCMAs are equivalent to our CMAs, correct?
Correct. Yes. So the Canadian Country Music Awards.
Yeah, exactly. And I got friends up there, Emerson Drive, Walker, Paul Brandt. I mean, I can go on and on. So many great artists came out of Canada.
Yeah.
It's just, who do we have now? Tenniel Arts coming out of Saskatchewan. I mean, just wow. And now making their home in Nashville. And how long have you been in Nashville?
I have been here 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years. And it's been a very long, they call it a 10-year town, and there's, I guess it is.
So what made you move over from Canada over to Nashville? Because you're very successful over in Canada.
Yeah, I started before I was anybody in Canada. I started making trips to Nashville as a as a way to learn how to write songs. I had a guy that heard me play in a club one night and heard me playing my own songs that I was kind of writing by myself and with local people. And he just thought I really had something special. His name was Miles Wilkinson, and I'm forever indebted to him. Now we switch places. He's in where I'm from in Edmonton, and I'm in Nashville. He met a woman up there and got married. But yeah, so he was a huge help to me. He brought me down to Nashville. I was 18 years old, and I started writing songs. He'd drive me to my co-writes. And so I started making trips very early on. And then as you make trips to Nashville, you sort of start to realize that you need to be present to win. So I just started gearing up my life to move to Nashville. And it took me years to be ready to do that. But when I was 25, I moved. So.
Now, did you traditionally go to the CMA Awards here? Did you attend those?
I never went to the CMA Award. I would always go to like the viewing parties though. So
yeah,
it was almost like you were there, but I was with friends or people in the industry that weren't going to the actual award show. But I've always been involved and watched both of them, as a Canadian growing up. So
I'm sure we'll see you there.
So how did the name like Goodvin, not Goodwin, but Goodvin come about? Well, is that confusing?
I just like to throw curveballs at people. No, I
sense of humor.
My name, my name is Goodvin, and it's always it's kind of a talking point, for us. It is my actual name. I don't have a miraculous story about why we are named Goodvins. I've even heard my family talk, like going back generations, that we were originally Goodwins, but now we're Goodvins. I don't know why, but my family is very important to me. I grew up listening to country music and playing guitars around the campfire. All my uncles and aunties, both my parents, they play it. They never did it professionally. They just did it for the love of music. So I grew up with that good country music in my family, playing around the campfire. And so we've always talked about, I've had managers before try and change my name to something, or because they're like, Goodvin's kind of confusing. And then by the time we would throw around a bunch of other names, and then we'd be like, let's just leave it as Goodvin. It's fine. So
just leave it. I mean, yeah, it could be confusing, but it's going to be more memorable as well, because you're going to think, oh, that's that guy with that name, and it should be Goodwin, but it's Goodvin.
Correct. And it has worked it really has worked in our favor, even though most people can't find me on the internet when they see me play somewhere. But it's one of those things that it's it is what it is, and I just love my name, and I never want to change it. My grandpa would be so happy that
don't. You got it, brother. That's it. And it's probably a good thing that a lot of people can't find you on the internet. Well, yeah,
probably. Yeah, in some ways it definitely
it does have its good side to it, I guess. Describe where are you in your house in Nashville?
Yes, I'm in the room where all the junk goes, according to my wife. She's like, put it in the junk room. I'm like, how about like my studio? Like, why do we got to call it a junk room?
They're all the same, Aaron. They all have the same like vibe and language when it comes to that. I get the same from here. So,
or let's put it in your room. But yeah, no, this room basically holds all the household items that don't fit anywhere else in the house. We just recently went through a whole renovation of downstairs, in which my dad did. My dad's a carpenter and has been for 35 plus years. So he enjoys coming down to Tennessee from Alberta, Canada in the middle of winter, and coming down and helping us do these renovations. So yeah, it's kind of like a junk room. I've got a little corner that, if you get the right angle, it looks like it's really well put together. And
good. Looks good. So, I saw you had the ring light in the background. You've got some of the plaques up on the wall. You got your award back there. I see your keyboards. Dude, you got the mic back there. You got it all going.
Yeah, I got it going. It's it is. It's not quite the way that I would love to have it set up, but I hope to after 20 years in the music business, I hope to make a little bit of money so I can get this place spiced up a little bit.
Well, you probably haven't made much over the past year or so. I'm just saying.
I haven't. It has just been a crazy year. I really thought that my mom. I remember distinctly years and years and years ago when I decided that I was going to be in country music. It was a choice between playing hockey and country music, and there was a lot of really short country music singers. So I decided that I would be a country music singer because when, on skates, I'm lucky to be 5'7". So it's like, I knew I didn't have the size. So I was like, well, I've met Clint Black. I've met some guys, they're just tiny. I'm like, I can do this. It's going to be great. And, but I distinctly remember having a conversation with my mom about how the fact that I chose music, I will always have, if the whole world goes crazy and we lose the internet and we don't have any way to communicate, at least you can still play music for people. Never in a million years did I think that a virus was going to show up that you couldn't see people anymore. I never ever thought that was going to be the thing, but it
didn't even exist in my mind that could even happen.
Well, I don't think it did for anybody, and I think that's just kind of the shock of the whole thing. And I just sure hope we can find a way to get it. We've found ways to get out recently that are very safe, and I'm lucky enough to in a way to not be as known in the United States, so that I've been able to tour around and play some outdoor shows and play some shows that are socially distanced and and safe for everybody. So that has been a blessing, but I sure hope we can get back to the big shows again at some point, because I'm going crazy.
I think that some of the main artists, the ones that have been touring like the big stadiums and stuff, they are really going crazy, because I'm starting to see things posting now. They're like, all right, we are so ready to get back out.
We're over it. Yeah.
You guys are so over it. And, and I know Tennessee is way more flexible than we are in New York. So
yeah. I actually was going to ask that. I know that you guys are up there, and I have a few friends in that area that are certainly tired, much like in where my parents are in Canada, very much locked down, like very stay home, don't leave. And here it's completely different. I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings and I was the only one wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's like optional, right?
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We have to wear them here. We can't go into any restaurant at all without having a mask on, and then only 4 to a table. You're going with a party of 5 or 6, somebody's going to be sitting alone or across the way, which kind of pisses a lot of people off, but you know what I mean? And then the mask, you got to be wearing the mask until you sit down. And I don't think if you go to order a beer, you can't have the beer until you order food.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But
wow.
Yeah, I know. You think you could have a beer while you're looking at the menu, right?
I mean, like, come on.
It's not working that way.
And you know what? I think our restaurants have to close at 10, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that is true too.
Yeah, there's a lot of curfews for sure out there, but it's been we call it good or bad. I don't know what it is. I mean, I certainly appreciate it. I'm, obviously you can tell that I like to talk, so I have a hard time staying away from people and conversations, and I feel like that's how it's kind of how I deal with my life, and especially being a songwriter and trying to connect on Zoom to write a song, which can just sometimes be a complete nightmare. And you get a little bit of latency, and you're like, "What did you say?" And then the other person's like, "What did you say?" And then when you can't communicate, in the room with somebody, it's hard to pick up those vibes and write something worth anything. So
yeah, we hear that from a lot of people. A lot of different artists are saying the exact same thing that you're saying. It's they're forced to do it, but it's very difficult to do it. You don't have the body language. It's just a whole different ball game, so to speak. But hey, how tall are you? You said you were short.
5'6".
Okay.
I'm not as short as Justin Moore.
No,
and you would be taller than him.
Well, him and I think Hunter Hayes is tiny too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Hunter is not very big either.
Yeah,
but don't ever get me in a picture with like John Party or Matt Stell or any of that garbage, because
side by side with Trace Adkins.
Oh my Lord, it is so hard. It's hard to be friends with those guys because I just immediately feel so short.
Right.
But on stage, there's no way that anyone who's on the shorter side looks short because the I don't know if it's the way the seating is or what, but
totally. One of my favorite things is when people come and meet me in a meet and greet, and they're like, "Wow, you're a lot shorter than I thought."
Do you kind of hate that though? Like, no, it doesn't bother you. Not hate. That's a strong word, but
yeah. It's like I say, there's a reason I'm not playing hockey anymore. But I chose a profession that I love, and I have a hard time being mad about any of it. So I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do for a living. So
plus you saved your teeth not playing hockey, I'm sure.
That's true. I did. Yeah.
What position did you play? I used to play hockey.
I played. I kind of hopped around. I played up until about midgets. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was about to be AAA, and then I kind of had that was kind of the moment where I needed to choose what I wanted to do. But I played mostly left wing. And then since I play a little bit in Tennessee when they have a league, I usually fill in. It kind of helped me get, in a weird way, hockey helped me get my first publishing deal, because I met a lot of the people that I ended up working with on the hockey team playing. So it's kind of funny how that comes full circle. But yeah, so I played. But when I play here, I play center. So I'm like, people actually like to come watch me play hockey.
Do you? Yeah, John Griffin is on here. I don't know if you know John at all. Of course, you must know
John. Yes.
Exactly. You must know John with Grassroots, and but he says he's seen you play hockey and you're good. Now, do you still go out and like play? Like we used to have something called the old timers.
Right. Yeah.
You were old, but it was just like if there's no other league, it's just a bunch of guys together and play hockey.
Yeah, I was actually super surprised. Like when I moved here and I brought my equipment down, I played with I played Dirks one night. That was a lot of fun. He's not the greatest hockey player in the world, but he plays with a lot of heart. It's fun to watch, and obviously everybody knows who he is. So we kind of go easy on him. But what's funny is there's a ton of Canadians. I meet more Canadians in Nashville than I do in Canada sometimes. And it's just crazy. And another thing is like I was really surprised with how competitive it was. Like I remember playing the first couple games, going like, "Oh man, like I need to step this up." I think I would much rather play in an old timers game, because it was like the league that we were in is like, and then I started to come and play, and people were like, "Oh, you're really good," and then all of a sudden they started like relying on me. And I'm like, hey, I've got other things that I'm doing.
I'm just doing this for fun, all right? Let's
not get all serious.
I want to get playing music.
I'm like one of those. I'm like a little. I call myself a little big man out there. Like I'm a little bit of an enforcer. I get on people's nerves. I can be really fast, so that bothers people. Yeah,
well, that's why you played left wing, because you were fast.
Yes,
I play right wing once in a while and left wing as well. And the thing is, at the time, I didn't have much meat on me, but I could move. I was
right. Yeah, that's always my thing.
Yeah, but if I got caught in that, like when I got checked, oh baby, I got checked. Pretty much.
Yeah, because you're always moving so fast.
Cartoon, you ever see that? Boom, down. But I was fast enough to get away from most of them. So
I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm learning a little bit more about you, Skip, all the time. I just don't know you as well as I thought.
Well, how long? Well, Deb and I have known each other for 10 years plus. So we actually, even though we're from the same area, we actually got to know each other in Nashville. So
yeah, isn't that funny?
That is so crazy.
Crazy world. We were at CRS one year, and we both have some friends in common, and Deb starting her business in Nashville, and they said, "Hey, Deb, you should meet Skip. Skip's there on business at the country radio seminar," and that's how it all got started. So, and it's really cool. So
that is super cool.
Yeah, but let's talk more about your music. So, I mean, you've been country all your life. That's what you love. That's what you want to do, and that's why you're doing it.
Yeah, like just to a fault almost. It drives my wife a little bit bonkers. She loves obviously loves country. We kind of bonded over country, but But she knows like this whole other world of all this other music and pop music and rock music and old like Frank Sinatra. And then, you know, she just has this wide variety. And I'm like, look, can we just turn it on like prime country? Is that cool? And what's funny is like the older I get, I find myself, I find that's the what I land on and what I like to listen to, you know. Whereas before when I was young, I loved everything that was coming out. Like I was born in '85, the '90s were booming. I was like on every new artist. I used to go to voice and guitar lessons an hour and a half away every Tuesday. My mom would take me, and I would go there and I would like buy whatever new CD was out that week. And because Tuesday used to be the day that they came out.
Tuesdays when when they dropped.
And so we used to do that every week. And I would always go buy like whatever was new and whatever was happening. And I just loved all the new stuff. And now I find myself, I don't know what it is, but I find myself like, I love listening to 90s and older. So
cool. And, you know, it's great having that opportunity. I mean, there are several different channels out there, so you can always kind of bounce.
Yeah, in today's world, we live in just a way. I'm still getting used to it. And I'm not good at like the whole streaming and how all that works. And like, I'm just like, I'm still have a CD player in my truck. And, you know, I don't know what it is. I try to get into it, you know. I'm like, okay, I got like, but it's for me, it's like I have to force myself to be like, okay, how does this Spotify or how does Apple Music work? And yeah,
you know, it's all pretty cool. It's all pretty cool.
It is so cool. I mean, it's amazing what technology has done, and the fact that I can tell Alexa to play my music. I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing.
So let's see. Speaking of Spotify, when I was looking you up earlier, you have a song that hit like over 8 million streams.
Crazy.
Lonely Drum. I was looking at that number. I don't think we've had a number that high yet, Skip.
No,
on a song with an artist. That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations. So
much. Lonely Drum was a huge, just a life-changing song for me, and continues to change my life. It's a song that just when we wrote it, there was something so super special about it. We were in the room. We I'll tell you the story. We wrote a whole nother song called "Trying to Forget You," which was like this rip your heart out ballad song. And then my friend Kat Gravitt said, it was me, Kat Gravitt, Skip Black, and she says, I love this song because it just beats on that lonely drum. And I was like, what did you say? Like, I'd never heard that before. And she was like, it beats on that lonely drum. And I was like, I want to write that.
Oh.
And so I kicked into the groove, and I used my amazing life experience of, you know, never getting girls to come over and having absolutely no game whatsoever. And it's a miracle that I found somebody. It means that, you know, God is good, because I'm just a horrible dater. And she, you know, and so we wrote the song in about 45 minutes. And from the time we demoed it right when we were there, from the time it left there, it's been this amazing story. And that has just done so well for us.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, I listened to it like 3 times. I was going through all of your songs, and I just kept going back to that one. And I'm like, now I know why there's 8 million streams on it.
And people love to listen to it over and over. It's one of those songs that people don't get tired of. It's been out for quite a while up in Canada, and I'll still get messages every day. Cover bands cover it. I don't know if you know the line dance. Have you seen the line dance for it?
No.
No.
Okay, so that is the part that will blow your mind. If you just go to YouTube, and just type in "Lonely Drum Line Dance" and look at all the videos that pop up.
Oh wow,
it is unbelievable.
That's cool.
Don't you wonder who starts that kind of thing? Like somebody just, you know, they gravitate towards a song, and they're like, let's create a line dance for this. And,
really cool. And actually, Lonely Drum 2 years ago won. Darren Mitchell out of Australia wrote this line dance for it, which now all these line dance clubs know and have learned and love to dance to. He won like line dance of the year for it 2 years ago.
Wow.
And that's going to help sell records too.
It absolutely does. It helps everything. It's helped get my name out there. There's been a number of times I've gone to different clubs across America, and I'll walk in and there'll be line dancing, and I'll be like, that sounds like Lonely Drum.
I was going to say, do you ever walk in on your own song?
You're like, wait, this is Lonely Drum. So
do you know the dance yourself or not?
I tried to learn it. I'm a horrible dancer.
Yeah, me too. I have two left.
And I will also say that the Lonely Drum line dance is not an easy line dance. It's like I can line up and do the Cadillac Ranch, no problem.
Right. Okay.
But the Lonely Drum one it's pretty, like, I would say you'd need to be expert level to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be a challenge for me because I'm about basic line dancing level.
Yeah.
It just doesn't click.
Yeah, it's so hard. Dance moves for me are. Yeah.
I see that John Griffin has already posted the YouTube link on there.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Anybody that's watching this, take down that link and check it out. So that's cool.
My favorite one is Lonely Drum Taiwan.
Really?
Yeah. There's also a Las Vegas flash mob.
Oh, I'm writing these down because I have to check them out later.
1,500 people line up and do, like, literally it's like 10 minutes of nothing. And then the music just starts, and like just as far as you can see, there's people line dancing to it. It's incredible.
Have you been present when any of that has happened?
No, I wish I was.
And I just kind of, if you were, I wonder how you would react to it. Would you just like, oh my God, this is so cool, and not say anything and just say, knowing that's your music, and it's gotta be a weird.
You know what? I honestly, I couldn't tell you how I would react. I really don't know. It's one of those things where it was, I just seeing it on YouTube, I'm like, this, and it's just kudos to the power of music. It's, I write all these songs, and I just had a blast writing that song. And people have a blast listening to it, and it's just how it should be.
So I have to ask you, who's Diane? I see Diane is commenting on here.
That would be my mom.
What's that?
That would be my mom.
Well, hi, Mom. Welcome to the podcast.
Is it your birthday?
When
no, I believe it's Miles's birthday. So the guy that brought me down to Nashville years and years and years ago, 10 years ago, apparently it's his birthday. So, and what's funny is my mom and dad run into them sometimes. I mean, obviously,
I didn't read the whole thing.
They all live in Edmonton. So,
now can they visit, or are they not allowed to come across the border right now?
They are totally fine to come do whatever.
That's right.
Strange. When they go back home to Canada, there's a 2-week quarantine, of course.
Right.
They were just down here a few months ago, and flew down. And my mom flew down, and then because my dad was already down here working on the house.
Right.
He came for 2 or 3 months, and then Mom flew down, and they didn't really say much, and she kind of came in, and she was here for 10 days, and then they drove back.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they got, over the border, they had to go straight to where they were going. And
wow, they drove. That's a hell of a drive.
It's a long one.
Holy.
I've done it a few times.
Like how long? Like a day or a couple of days?
3 days.
Oh, God.
3 days if you're driving, and you have to average on 12 hours per day.
Yeah, and that's a lot of driving.
That's a lot of driving. And I've done it before, but they took their time with it. Took 6 days and spread it out, and drove a few and stopped at certain places.
Well, it's not so bad if you don't have things that you have to get back to, your job, appointments, business, things like that. You could take your time and do that, but forget it. We took a drive to Texas years and years ago. Our kids were little. It took us 3 days down, 3 days back. And with 3 little kids in the car, I never did it a long drive again. I was like, I am ready to jump out the stupid window after that one. So,
they're tied up in the back seat.
Was not pleasant. Not pleasant. So anyway.
I can't imagine.
That's crazy. So, hey, Aaron, your mom and dad, what do they think about you doing what you're doing?
They've been extremely supportive. Anybody who knows me up in Canada pretty much knows my parents, I think, and they're very very supportive. It's one of the things that I was super lucky, which I don't think I would have made it as far as I have without the support. Like there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that you need, whether it's financial help or emotional support or just somebody to tell you you're doing good and just keep going. I mean, my parents were always that for me. My family, are very, very proud of me. They, and I'm just proud to be able to continue to do it. And, no, I like, honestly, if I was playing anywhere within driving distance, in Canada, sometimes they'll fly out to come to shows in Canada. Anywhere that they can get, it's like a cheap flight and they can get a hotel room. They're there. And people, what I find, what I like so much about it is that people really, like, my fans love that. They love how involved my parents are, and
I love that too.
My parents love to know everything. Like we've got Lonely Drum coming out in the United States, and I feel like I'm calling them every day, and I'm like, hey, these guys might add it, and hey, this might happen, and like today we got added on Music Choice, which is the
nice
cable internet provider, and I'm telling them that, and they're like, oh my god, this is so exciting. So it really is like a family affair.
Yeah. Do you ever like call your mom and dad and say, I don't want to do this anymore?
I've done that.
Oh, I was going to say, I can't even imagine that he's done that.
No,
we all have those moments, though.
Oh, absolutely. And not as long ago as you might think. One thing about big dreams is that it's inevitable to have big obstacles. And this is Lonely Drum is a song that we've wanted to get out for, I don't even want to tell you how long. And it's been such a challenge. And in a perfect world, it probably should have come out right after it was a hit in Canada. But circumstances kind of got in the way of that. We were going to release and then COVID hit, and it's just there's just a lot of uncertainty in the world. So there's when COVID hit and my shows got canceled, that was a pretty big blow. And and it was like and not even so much in the the fact that the shows were gone and that it wasn't a financial thing. It was just like, for me, I remember distinctly years ago when I was going through hard times and I was trying to have a job and then make ends meet and then and then go play a show and do all this stuff and or trying to get stuff going in the music business. And what it came down to for me is if I could have a gig somewhere, I'd be all right. So the fact that this was like no gigs anywhere, it was like, and so you just found a way, we started doing some live stuff on the internet and started doing that stuff. So.
Yeah, we're going to ask about that as well, whether you're doing the Facebook shows. And I know everybody's trying to find an avenue to get themselves out there so they still have their name out there. And, you have to do whatever you have to do that. And I'll tell you, you talk about Lonely Drum. Whenever you hear this, it just makes you want to listen more and more and more. Dude, that's got I know I looped it for the intro, but I have it here on my little button thingy here. It's cool. You hear that beat and you just want to listen to it more. So when that does hit radio, that's going to be a smash for you.
Well, we're super excited. It's coming out very, very soon. So,
and you can tell everybody Skip Clark said that.
I will tell everybody that Skip Clark said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bet.
Being that it's been such a big hit in Canada, they'll be scarfing it right up over here. So,
well, it's one of those things where we never know. I mean, you hear stories about people that have had hit songs in Canada and then tried to do it in the U.S. and it didn't work. And but I always just try to compare the type of song that Lonely Drum is, which we just believe is a reactive song. We believe it's a song that you hear it, you want to hear it immediately again, or you hear it and you can't help but tap your foot or start dancing. one of the things for me that made me go like, I have to put this out regardless of what we put out. Like whatever we put out next, it has to be this. Even though we have new music and we've got things that we're excited about. The reason why I feel like it's so important is because I don't want to jump over top of it and leave it behind. And then but the biggest part was like kids love it and grandparents love it. And to me, that's like, if that isn't a sign of just a big hit song, then I don't know what is. Like when you look at songs that have really stick with people, like Lonely Drum is that song. And we play in Canada. We are so lucky. We've had 4 or 5 top 10s and a #1 record up there, and we play Lonely Drum, and the whole, like, we have all these other songs that are successful that people love and they love to listen to and sing along with. But then Lonely Drum comes on, and it's like the energy of everything just lifts. People change, the vibe changes. It is literally the most magical thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. Like from being up on stage and then starting to play that song and just watching what happens. It's incredible. You can't even explain.
Whereabouts is Lonely Drum in your playlist? Stage, do you save it for like towards the end?
Yeah, we play a lot.
Yeah.
Of course.
We make people wait for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool. And is it true that you named your album after your wife?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do on the next record.
And her, as Deb said, what did she think about that?
It was a conversation that we had.
Okay.
We basically we'd gone through all the songs that had made it on the record, and we were listening to the record. And by we, I mean me and my management, my producer. And we're listening to everything, and we're like, there wasn't really any lyric or song title or anything that like jumped out of that was like, oh, this kind of sums up kind of what this record is all about. And so one of my managers, who I believe you've had a few chats with, Mandy West, said, she goes, well, the common thread that I hear like through all the songs is V. And I was like, true. And we call my wife Victoria, her name, we call her V. So,
okay.
So I was like, yeah, that's true. She's like, well, what if we called it V? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. And so I remember taking it to Victoria and being like, so here's the deal.
Listen, honey.
She should be better.
No, she was, my wife is super, like, we're pretty much the opposite. She's very collective, thinks about things before she says things. I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, ADD, and if it's in my head, it's going out, and so we kind of have that thing where we're, the opposites basically. And so I was like, this is what we're thinking though, and she goes, no, I don't think so. And then I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then so we kind of went on, and then after about a few days of thinking about different records, she sort of come around and she was like, actually, yeah, it is kind of a cool idea. Like you have, and then the other thing that we were kind of trying to pound home on the last record was that it is a V, not a W in my last name. So it's kind of like a couple things that played into that whole thing. So
totally get it. What about the Luke Bryan album? You've got a track on that.
Yes, that was pretty incredible. We had I had been writing songs with a couple hooligans named Adam Sanders and Cole Swindell. We just loved writing songs together, and it was one of those things that we were never in writing songs for people. We were just in writing songs that we liked. And, we had the first song we wrote was called Dozen Roses in a Six Pack, which was ended up on Cole's first record. And then about the fifth song, basically the first up-tempo positive song that we wrote, all of our other songs were like country songs, real deep and real, and then we were like, well, we should probably try and write something upbeat. And Luke had put Dozen Roses on hold a couple times. And basically told Cole, which I didn't know at the time, that they were super close I knew they were acquaintances. I knew they knew each other.
Cole worked for him.
He sold merch for him. I didn't know.
Exactly.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
And or that they were really good friends. And Cole basically said, Luke basically told them, like, you need to keep writing songs with those guys. Like, just keep pumping them out. And so we kind of had this open door to, you know, keep writing these songs and keep sending them to Luke. And so we kept doing that. We wrote a few more songs. We were sending them all to Luke. And finally, Cole came in. He's like, I think we should just need to write something up tempo. That's not like this vein. And so we wrote a song called Out Like That. And I basically played guitar in the room. Sometimes I'm that guy, or sometimes I'm the melody guy and the idea guy. But that day I was like, let's just write a rocker. And I started playing, you know, kind of the riff to Out Like That. And we just, Cole is an amazing songwriter. Yeah. Adam's a great songwriter. And so it was a lot of fun writing it. I never thought anything of it. We went and demoed it and was like, cool, whatever. And then I had this is the official Nashville AaronGoodvin story. Is I had a migraine on the couch, my third manager's couch, third. And, while I was being in town, and I'm laying there, I've got a migraine, and I get a text from Cole, and I'm literally about to move back to Canada. I was in Nashville living there for 2 years, and I was at the point where it's like, need to go home and help Dad out with being a carpenter, because I can't make any more money. I'm kind of stretched thin, and I'm wore out. And Cole texted me and said, hey, Luke just cut our song. And I was like, what? My migraine disappeared. And that was a really big record to be on. And I just remember I was a big fan of Luke's, and I really liked what he was doing at that time. And I still like what he's doing now, but at that time it was like this new thing that he was kind of finding his niche in the market. And we had this song that like fit on this record, and I was like, oh man. And then we had to wait like 6 months to find out if it was going to be on the actual record or the Target record. And we're like, please don't be on the Target record, because we really need it to be better than that. But in the meantime, after Luke had cut my song, I was able to go in and meet with some publishing companies, and landed at Warren Chappell Music for 4 years. And it allowed me to stay in town and really dig into my artistry and what it is that I wanted to do as a songwriter and an artist. And so that was amazing. Without that, like I said, I don't know that I would still be here. So no,
you're off and running, dude. I tell you, you're knocking it out of the park. And this is the beginning for you, man. You still got quite the future ahead of you. Describe, I don't know if Deb had a question or not. Deb, were you going to say something?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Describe what one of your shows would be like if you could play. You got the band. Are you very like energetic on stage? Do you banter with the audience? Do you use? I know you've got a great sense of humor. I don't know. Do you use a lot of that when you're on stage, or describe one of your shows to us?
Yes, my shows are very. There's a point. Sorry, I'm laughing because I just remembered something. My ADD brain reminds me of these stories.
It's all good.
But, high energy in a sense of the songs kind of bring the energy. It's kind of all my shows are all based around, in my opinion, like what I think great music really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of slow songs too. So I kind of, my favorite shows are shows that take you kind of through every emotion. But there is a part of my show that kind of veers off into borderline stand-up comedy, which is not something that's planned. None of my shows are the same, and it's just something that like when I'm in the atmosphere, I have a hard time being in front of a camera and doing it. But if I have an audience in front of me and I know that I can take them somewhere, then, and I know where they're at, if I can get them in the palm of my hand, I can usually take them somewhere. But that's like that's kind of one of my true passions, other than the music, is just to connect with people. And a good way to do that is through comedy. And I'll put my hand in my pocket and start walking around stage telling stories. My band has no idea what's going on, and it's a lot of fun for all of us.
They all look at each other and go, "Here we go."
They're like, "Oh God, here he goes."
Water, do whatever. He's going to be talking for a while.
Yeah, and one of the I won't say who it is, but I was on this tour where I was the opening act, and I was going out there, and this closing act was very successful. It had a lot of success, and when we're out there on this tour, we're happy to be there. We're playing 30 minutes a night. We're killing it. People are loving us. They've heard my songs on the radio. It's a really good situation for us. About halfway through the tour, we get this call that comes down from the from the headliner's manager, and it's basically a call to my manager that says, could you get Aaron to stop talking?
Were you taking too long going over your time?
No, we were good. We would stay on it. We would go over maybe a couple times. Yeah. But I think that the threat was that that I was maybe having too much fun
and
telling jokes and
the headliner
bringing and slightly possibly overshadowing the headline act. Great act, a lot of great songs, but did none of that, and was maybe feeling a little bit threatened. I just laughed at that. I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, "Yeah, of course I'll tone her back a little bit." So
see, I like that. Sorry, Scott. I like that. That part about you, because it's all natural humor. You're doing what feels best for you. You're just feeling the audience, and you're relating. You're actually relating on how you are at that moment. And in my opinion, I mean, to me, that's the way to be, because when it's a scripted act, it's like you're just getting on there and going through the motions. When you're doing this, you are totally yourself.
Well, I've watched a lot of people when we were growing up. We used to go to this festival, my family and I, my sister and I, and my parents, and we could only afford 2 tickets like up at the front. So every year there'd be a festival in Grand Prairie, Alberta. We would get all these big headline acts, and all these acts would come through. And usually like they weren't getting like, George Strait, but they were getting like guys that were coming up. Like, so, when somebody like you came out, Keith Urban was headlining, right before that, so it was like all these we got all these artists that were on the brink, but they were like our big headlining acts. And I remember, and I learned so much just by going to that festival every year, because we would get those 2 tickets up front. And then my sister and I would fight over like who would get what artist to go up. And my parents would be like, "Oh, I have to see him up front." And so we would like switch our tickets out all the time. But my point is that we like, my favorite acts that I love didn't always necessarily have the greatest music, but they had this ability to take the audience on a trip, basically on a journey. And they were able to put their and then somehow make that all relate to the music. So, to me, the most authentic way to be is just to be yourself. And I've learned in all of my years of playing shows that the more I do that, the better time we all have.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I agree.
100% right there. Yeah, exactly. What's your let's get out of the how am I going to put this? What your guilty pleasure type of something? Somebody told me you like the Backstreet Boys.
I did. I used to love the Backstreet Boys. That's like my go-to karaoke song is "I Want It That Way." That's
okay. Do you get out do the karaoke thing?
No. I mean, it's been a long time.
Not anymore.
The last karaoke thing we did, we played this show. I believe it was in Alberta. Could have been Saskatchewan. I can't remember. And we played the show, and we had finished the show, and all the guys were like, "Well, we're gonna go." We were in this hotel, and they had a little bar or like a little club down in the hotel, and so they're like, "Well, we're all gonna go down there," and I was like, "Cool." I was like, "Yeah, I might come." I usually don't. I usually go to bed or chill, go watch TV, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe I will come." So we go out. Of course, they have karaoke there that night. and my band's drinking like it's the last night they're ever going to live. And and they're just having a great time, and they're talking to all these people, and then the town kind of catches on that we're all at this bar, and so we get there, and it's like there's barely anybody in there, and then slowly people just kind of start casually coming back to the bar, or coming to the bar. You can tell that like people are showing up because like we're there, and this it was all fine. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, it's great, but then the next thing I hear is that lick that you play, and I'm like, oh my God. And then they go, it's your turn to sing. So there I am in a bar singing my own song on the dance floor while my band is like doing harmonies and they're doing like all this. It was a blast. It was like one of those things where as soon as we got out there, like every phone was up, and it was just like, they're like, oh my God, AaronGoodvin singing his own song on karaoke in this bar. Yeah, that was the last time I did karaoke.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. You make a lot of fans that way too. You know what I mean? People it just keeps growing for you. And that's great. We're talking with AaronGoodvin tonight. And I tell you, I love your personality. Your music is phenomenal. I know Dev's been listening to it. Of course, me doing what I do in the radio side of things, I read about you all the time. That's first we've had a chance to talk, but your music is awesome, dude. And Lonely Drum, like you said, every time I play this beat here, it's just like I want to hear more, and I want to want to hear more. All right, okay, he's in the house here. Let's get just kidding. But yeah, it's cool. If somebody wanted to find out more about you, of course, they can go to your website, I would assume, which is
AaronGoodvin.com. And we're got all the social links up there too, so you can come follow us on all those, or follow or like or I don't know. They all
They all are. It's like you can follow, you can like. It's like, what's the difference between one or the other? Just
exactly. Media, you're there. So and you can follow Aaron, and I'll tell you, keep an ear on the radio because you're going to be hearing a lot about this guy, I think, in the near future.
I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely. Even if you are 5'6". I mean, you and Justin Moore could have a little, Justin doesn't like the fact that he's short. You don't want to talk to him about being short. He gets very, very upset.
He's actually, I mean, I don't mean to, he's really short. I remember I saw it, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. Like,
no.
But it's just, it's incredible. Like how short he is, and like what voice comes out of that.
Yeah, exactly. He's phenomenal.
Well, I love your approach to it. You're like, well, these other guys are short and they made it, so I'm short. Yeah, I think I'm going to make it. What the heck? There's nothing wrong with that.
Aaron did. So. That's cool. Hey, before we let you go, how about a few quick questions? I think Deb might have a few there, right, Deb? You got some questions?
I always have a few fun questions to ask.
It seems like this is a thing podcast that everybody's got to ask the guest like a few questions and get some quick answers. So
I love it.
Hold on. What did they do? What would you most want for your next birthday?
What would I most want for my next birthday?
Are you listening, Mom and Dad? Go ahead.
Yeah, are you listening? And
I would have to say I would just want to go to Disney World. I just want to spend all my time at Disney World.
Oh my God, you're too funny. My kids love Disney World.
Oh, I'm still a child, so there's that. But we didn't.
My 31-year-old daughter's still a child because she loves Disney World. Go ahead.
I love Disney World so much. My wife and I, we went with her family, the last 2 years, and we didn't go this year. And we usually go around Christmas time, and we didn't go this year because of everything. And so I'm really missing it. So come July 24th, when my birthday hits, I would love to be.
Bam, you're there.
Walt Disney World.
But you know what's funny? Now is really the time to go because there's no lines, there's no people, they're limited capacity. So You might want to take an early birthday
You're
present.
probably right, and I probably need to book a trip as soon as we get off this podcast. So,
and airfare is a little bit on the cheaper side right now because they're desperate.
That's true.
So,
Yep. Jimmy Allen goes to Disney World almost every month.
Yes, I know that, and I'm very jealous.
Yep, and he absolutely loves it. So,
I forgot. And he does.
He
that.
totally does.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. What else you got there, Deb?
Let's see. What would make the best cereal box prize?
Cereal box prize.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. That's a really good question.
Do they still do that?
They do. But I think they're little things. They're like those little plastic rings or they're little tattoos. I mean, I think when we were growing up, I mean,
you know what I love? I love those little it would drive my wife nuts, but like little widgets or something. Like, are they widgets?
Those spinny things?
Yeah, they like spin, you spin around.
Where is yours? You're always playing with that thing.
Oh, I would hours. Do you have one? Yeah. See, I would do that for hours.
Right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I sit here some nights and we're talking to somebody and I'm just like, just spinning it around. This came from CRS 2 years ago, I believe, right, Deb? Didn't we? Yeah. Weren't they in those bags they give you?
Yeah. And I have mine on the counter over there. So I can't tell you how many nights we always talk after the podcast and
the fidget spinner.
And he's just fidgeting as he's talking.
How I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm totally a fidgeter.
I'm a fidgeter.
It's supposed to help the mind, though, as well.
It does.
Well, cool. I don't care what it does. I just want to play.
There you go.
At the fidget spinner.
So happy. Look at that thing go.
Actually, this thing kicks ass. It just keeps.
You perfected it, Skip.
See, that would be a good cereal box prize for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One more, Deb.
All right, let's see. What would be the coolest skill to have without needing to practice it?
Playing the piano would be amazing.
Really? So what instruments do you play? I mean, we know guitar.
I've only ever played guitar.
Oh.
I dabble. The reason why I have a keyboard right here is because when I do tracks, I use some of the stuff there. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really a track guy by any means. So this is kind of a learning thing. But if I could play piano, I would love that so much. I need to learn. I keep talking about it, but
in your spare time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I need to make it a little time between midnight and 1 a.m. to start working on that.
What's that?
I was going to say if he can get to the piano because his wife is putting all the junk in his room.
True, very true.
Make sure you got the
junk room
over anything.
I don't know. I just figure if you can play one instrument, then the rest come natural, and you could just play them. Yeah. But I guess maybe.
I wish that were true. I'm a horrible drummer, just real bad. And that doesn't stop me from trying every sound check.
Mm-hmm. I love it. AaronGoodvin, thank you so much for having us, joining us here, having us on. Yeah, thank you for allowing us to be your guest tonight. Well, here with Skip Happens and the Skip Happens podcast, and Deb Lanfear, the president and founder of the official country music fan club, and she's got business in Nashville, which is kind of cool. So, as well as here in the Northeast. So, that's she's into this country music thing, like I am. I mean, very passionate, very dedicated, like you are, of course. And it's people like you that is helping people like us doing what we do. So, and we all work together at it, and we're all trying to make a living. And
yeah,
it hasn't been easy, but we're good.
It hasn't, but I can't imagine doing anything else. I really appreciate you guys asking me to do this. I really do.
No, absolutely, and I look forward to actually being able to say hello in person someday.
And maybe shake a hand or
shake a hand or an elbow punch or
an elbow something
or a tip of the. I don't know. You walk up to somebody and you tap their toenail. That's what my doctor did to me the other day. He's like, "All right, it's good seeing you, Skip." And
tap your toe.
I went to do the elbow, and he said, no, we don't do the elbow because everybody sneezes in their elbow.
Wow, that's thinking.
So he did tapped me in the toe. He goes, there you go.
Have you ever seen totally off? Have you ever seen the doors with, you guys probably have them up there. They put things on the bottom of like the bathroom door and stuff to bring out with your foot.
Mm-hmm. They've also made, I was actually looking at for some of these little tchotchke things to, for the podcast to give out and stuff. And they have these little things for the door handles. So you don't touch the door handle.
Right.
Like it's a keychain and it looks like an old fashioned key, but it's bigger.
I did see something like that too. Yeah. I saw my first one. There was one I was in North Carolina and there was one there and I was like, what is this thing? Because we don't have any of that here.
Right. No, I said the same thing. I go, what the hell is this? And then somebody said, no, this is what it's for. And I went, that's kind of cool. That's cool. You don't touch the doorknob. You can open and close the doors and all that stuff. Yeah, I know. Think about it. Yeah, pretty clever.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
There you go.
Let's add this to it.
Speaking of Disney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. It's been Skip Happens here tonight. Aaron Goodvin.
Thank you all so much.
What a great guy. I love your personality. Love the music. Deb Lamphere from the Country Music Fan Club as well. And my name's Skip Clark. Make sure you go to our YouTube page and subscribe so you don't miss these. And thank you for watching on our Facebook as well. And make sure you like us and make sure you go to the Country Music Fan Club. The official,
At the official CMFC on Facebook. Like us, follow us, do it all. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yep. And keep listening for Lonely Drum.
Mm-hmm.
You hear this, you're going to want more, man. You're going to want more. Even though I looped it for this, I mean, you're going to want more. You're going to want more. Aaron, you're awesome, buddy. Thank you again for joining us here today.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Stay right there, my friend. Here we go. Again, thanks.